That note cuts straight to the heart of things, don't it? Finding gourmet ingredients ain't easy these days, but we'll take what we can get. The note says it plain. Zia, go east to learn the truth about the calamity and our people. I'll be waiting. Sincerely, Zulf. Zulf's messenger was one of his people. Wonder just how many of them survived, and what exactly Zulf told him. The Masons. We built the city strong. Now there's only two of us. That's the way to make every shot count. Even the army never issued carbines in such fine shape. Machete and carbine still go well together, just like in the war. It ain't too late to unlock the potential of this place. The arsenal's complete, in case we need protection. The shards are getting harder to find. He's feeling real proud of that show. I almost don't believe it when he says he passed the Breaker's challenge. The orchard grew over so quick, the marshals made it worth clearing out. man who fell on his hindquarters in the grove wouldn't soon hear the end of it. That's Trigger Hill, where the Army's elite became the finest marksmen in the land. Caelandia's army only took the best, and the best of them trained on Trigger Hill. The Triggers believed they were nothing without their rifles. Nothing beats the feel of shooting a Caelandian army carbine. Sometimes you had to take care to steady your shot. The Triggers had clearance to modify their guns however they chose. Some felt the course was too easy, so the Triggers spiced things up a bit. The kid ain't bad, but the Triggers were better. If you want to master the art of the firearm, then the place to go is Trigger Hill. Sometimes you had to shoot from the hip. They had to keep moving to avoid getting burned. His ears must be ringing after all that shooting. The Triggers, my brothers, bravest men I ever knew. Points just don't get any sharper than that. fast you are. You can always get faster. Not everything blew up in the calamity. Why, Colford Cauldron here blew up way ahead of its time. The cauldron boiled over some 300 years ago. They say it filled the skies with ash and the lakes with molten rock. If you wanted to survive something like that, you had to learn to adapt. So in a way, the beasts of the wilds, they're all survivors too. It takes a certain stubborn pride to keep on living in a place like this. As for us, we learned an awful lot from Colford Cauldron. That learning led to some interesting inventions. The raw power of the world fell right into our hands. Playing with the cauldron's fires became an addiction. Sure, we dusted off a good many secrets out here. But we discovered other things we're better off not knowing. The unforgiving scent of sulfurous dirt. The taste of air so hot it sticks to your lungs. Best to keep out of the cauldron. All sorts of awful things crawling underfoot. You can cook those things, but you can't eat them. Never thought we'd find so much life in all that ash. The more ash we swept aside, the more life we found. We kept on sifting through the cauldron's secrets anyway. Place as inhospitable as they come. But still we pressed on. After all, when we looked down inside Colford Cauldron, looked down through all the smoke and flames, we saw in there the heart of the world. The heart now laid bare by the calamity. We had to have it. As for the kid, he just has to get that shard out of there. Too bad taking that thing woke up every last stink eye from here to Charleston Bog. Luckily, the cauldron cooked up a little shortcut for him. Sure, it ain't the most convenient path. Biggest stink eye he's ever seen's waiting for him on the other side. Pops open on him like a pimple on a school day. Where there's one stink eye, there's always more. The cauldron's tenants all gather up to bid the kid a fond farewell. The kid don't shed any tears for him, though. With a good spyglass, you can still see the cauldron from the city. But all the fires died out. There's nothing left of it. It comes back looking like the inside of a chimney. A culture, a still life of old unwanted keepsakes. We're all a little short on friends these days, so that's a welcome sight. They said the wild could never be tamed. If only they could see us now. Kid arrives just in time to sample Zia's famous cooking. He wolfs down too much too fast, and it all goes to his head. I've said a lot about the kid, but he ain't the only one wrapped up in all this. What's he thinking? Well, let me see if I got this straight. I only heard it once. Once there was a normal Ura girl, but she wasn't born in the Tassel terminals like the rest of her people. She was from Celandia. Her folks were orphaned in the war, taken in and raised inside the city, on condition they would never return to the terminals. Ura refugees who came into the city had to stay for life. It was a way to reduce the risk of city secrets leaking out. The mama passed away from birthing complications, leaving the girl trapped inside that city with no one but her father. Father was sharper than a brusher's pike, so he got a job working for the city's mancers. His daughter barely saw him. Her father told her nothing of her Ura heritage. He told her nothing of the mancers. It's for your own good, he said. She took to studying the arts, learned more through music than history books, gained a knack for strings and songs. At first, she tried to be like other girls, but her classmates spread word that her father was an Ura trader, selling out the city. One young man stood up for her, or so he led her to believe. He knew much of her heritage, and she grew fond of him. Train of thought there. The young man convinced her to take him to her family den to meet her father. Spoke of how he wanted to meet a man from the terminals. When the young man greeted her father in the Ura's native language, her father flew into a fit of rage and threw them out. Well, I digress. Knocks him into an uneasy sleep. What's he thinking? Well, let me see if I got this straight. I only heard it once. Once there was a normal Ura girl, but she wasn't born in the Tazzle terminals like the rest of her people. She was from Celandia. Her folks were orphaned in the war, taken in and raised inside the city, on condition they would never return to the terminals. Ura refugees who came into the city had to stay for life. It It was a way to reduce the risk of city secrets leaking out. The mama passed away from birthing complications, leaving the girl trapped inside that city with no one but her father. Father was sharper than a brusher's pike, so he got a job working for the city's mancers. His daughter barely saw him. Her father told her nothing of her Ura heritage. He told her nothing of the Mansers. It's for your own good, he said. She took to studying the arts, learned more through music than history books, gained a knack for strings and songs. At first, she tried to be like other girls, but her classmates spread word that her father was an Ura trader, selling out the city. One young man stood up for her, or so he led her to believe. He knew much of her heritage, and she grew fond of him. The young man convinced her to take him to a family den to meet her father. Spoke of how he wanted to meet a man from the terminals. When the young man greeted her father in the Ura's native language, her father flew into a fit of rage and threw them out. The young man never told her that the Ura's native language is not to be used by foreigners. To do so is a terrible insult. Lost my train of thought there. It was then that she decided to escape. The two of them could flee the city together and go to the Tassel terminals. They would hide inside a garbage bin until it got ingested by a scumbag, then let him slosh on out of the city for disposal. We've all got stories worth telling. Kid ain't the only one. Wouldn't have thought to bring a bellows to a shootout, but it just might work. The cinders kept the city good and warm, made it thrive. At least it won't get cold around here with that thing around. That ought to give those dueling pistols a little extra kick. Live wine so rich, they say it's brought men back from the brink for one last taste. Just can't get enough of that good home cooking, can he? Knocks him into an uneasy sleep. What's he thinking? Well, let me see if I got this straight. I only heard it once. Once there was a normal Ura girl, but she wasn't born in the Tassel terminals like the rest of her people. She was from Celandia. Her folks were orphaned in the war, taken in and raised inside the city, on condition they would never return to the terminals. Ura refugees who came into the city had to stay for life. It was a way to reduce the risk of city secrets leaking out. The mama passed away from birthing complications, leaving the girl trapped inside that city with no one but her father. Her father was sharper than a brusher's pike, so he got a job working for the city's mancers. His daughter barely saw him. Her father told her nothing of her Ura heritage. He told her nothing of the mancers. It's for your own good, he said. She took to studying the arts, learned more through music than history books, gained a knack for strings and songs. At first, she tried to be like other girls, but her classmates spread word that her father was an Ura trader, selling out the city. One young man stood up for her, or so he led her to believe. He knew much of her heritage, and she grew fond of him. young man convinced her to take him to her family den to meet her father. Spoke of how he wanted to meet a man from the terminals. When the young man greeted her father in the Ura's native language, her father flew into a fit of rage and threw them out. The young man never told her that the Ura's native language is not to be used by foreigners. To do so is a terrible insult. It was then that she decided to escape. The two of them could flee the city together and go to the Tassel terminals. They would hide inside a garbage bin until it got ingested by a scumbag, then let him slosh on out of the city for disposal. Thought there. Her plan almost succeeded, but the authorities were already there when that scumbag sidled up to the city walls. The young man had sent the authorities a tip. Told him her father was using her to sell secrets to the Tassel terminals. She and her father were arrested for treason, but her father got a deal. Returned to work for the Mansers, and she'd go free. Before they parted ways for the last time, her father whispered a desperate plea. Hurry home to the den and lock yourself in. did as she was told, and deep down underground inside that den, she found a journal written in her father's hand. The next day, the door to the den turned to ash. The girl came up for air, and she saw the calamity all around her. When the kid wakes up, his world's still in pieces, just the way he left it. We could have a fine old cookout with that stuff. Too bad that's not the plan. His bow's looking lean and mean like a prize fighter. Don't want that thing leaving your hands until you decide it's time. It wasn't fixed, it was unbroken. The shard works like a charm. You can hear the monument's heartbeat again. The memorial may be finished, but our part is far from over. The inspiration. A forge can fashion anything. The city, its riches nothing but fragments now. To master the musket, you gotta get rid of the recoil. A solid frame can put an extra sting in every slice. It's no longer a weapon, it's a precision instrument. Gotta make sure the pointy end's fastened on real tight. we spotted a pecker carrying a shard to Mount Zan. Welcome to Grady Incinerator, home of the hottest wings east of Caelandia. In all seriousness, the incinerator was a dump, and it had a problem with peckers. Blasted things would swoop in and spread trash all around, until we started using fire. We couldn't just torch them all at once. We had to use restraint. Keeping the incinerator clean was a paying job, but not a pleasant one. Know how we kept the city clean? We put all our trash in Grady Incinerator. Peckers that flocked together were easy pickings. Wasn't any other way to teach those peckers some respect. Who knows why we fought so hard to defend our own trash? Grady Incinerator is where we sent off all our trash to be burned or be eaten by the wilds. No risk of Culford Cauldron ever erupting again, they used to say. Guess they were wrong. Not much left of Mount Zan nowadays. It's like a cross between a zoo and a prison break. Can't rightly call Mount Zan a mountain anymore. There's no more mountains now. There's no place left for the beasts of the wild to go. So they figure they'll hold out right here, on a slab of mountain the Calamity forgot. Those beasts been hoarding all the valuables they could find. Good thing for those beasts the Calamity saved leftovers. We only found their little lair because they found themselves a little shard. The creatures of the wild, they've been building a bastion of their own. Children into this. Without a doubt, the situation stinks. Best thing we can do for those beasts right now is put them down quick and clean. It's a delicate situation. There's only one kind of mercy left these days. What the city left behind, those beasts took for themselves. Takes a lot of convincing. And our mortars have to do the talking. Look at it this way. It's either them or us. But if we win, they win too. Our bastion is everybody's gain, not just ours. Unfortunately, there's no explaining that to a simple beast. Those beasts been hard at work fixing up the place. They've been searching for cores and shards, just like we have. They've rounded up their survivors, just like we have. Maybe they've thought about turning back, just like we have. We just really need their shard. Kid got it fair and square. You don't need to keep tangling with all those things. The beasts of Mount Zan go all out. That's the way. He's done what's best for him, don't you worry. Don't you worry. We'll all be better off once the Bastion is complete. The conscience. We haven't lost everything, long as we have that. Fixed that thing right up, didn't we? Made these goings-on a little livelier. Suppose it's true a little song can put things in perspective. Now, whale ale ain't made from real whale, but it'll make you strong like one. Walk by a kid with a machete and a mortar, you just keep on walking. That mortar's gonna leave a lasting impression. Without an insulated air intake, that thing's liable to blow up on you. Takes a careful touch to rattle those bones like that. The monument's getting better. Zolf sure did a number on it, though. We need an awful big lost and found under the circumstances. Just a couple shards left. The quarry's gotta have one, right? Boundless Bay used to be a weapons test and dry dock. Ain't never been this dry, though. Celandia's armada was a glorious sight, and our ship's mortars were unstoppable. At Boundless Bay, our Navy put those mortars through a rigorous inspection. Had to use squirts to simulate explosive impact on the surface of the sea. Choosing targets with those mortars was one of the trickiest parts. You could almost see the fireworks over Boundless Bay. Good thing we got to that mortar before the beasts of the wild learned how to use it. The best of the best cleared the course in just a few shots. Kid probably could have made himself marshal one day. The skippers delivered us from the motherland. The secret to how we built Caelondia so tall and proud lies in Burstone Quarry. Imagine everything you'd need to build a city like Caelondia. It takes hard work and planning, and it also takes Burstone Quarry. The Ura tunnels beneath the quarry must have softened the blow from the calamity. We bought the whole place from the Ura on the cheap. Same goes for its natives, Rattletails. Why would the Ura put up with those pests? Rattletails ain't the worst of it either, but more about that in a little bit. The quarry came with a lifetime supply of windbags. Windbags smaller than the naked eye can see are nesting in those rocks. Not only are these rocks a source of life, we found that the oldest ones remember things. taking it all in. No wonder all those beasts were drawn to the quarry. The rocks were calling them. Keeping the quarry free from pests turned out to be a problem. Rattletails kept tunneling in to snack on windbags. Without those windbags, the quarry might not have its special qualities. Even stink eyes started taking root in here. Now, why would the Ura sell off such a fascinating place? The Ura always were a superstitious lot. Might be the gods told them the quarry's bad news. In any case, it's fair to say the quarry was a godsend. Those rocks, all polished to a mirror sheen. The largest ones you know as cores. A single core could keep the lights on in an entire city district. The smaller ones, we call them shards. A shard's got a fraction of a core's power, enough to fuel a voyage to the motherland. Well, now the quarry's all dried up. These rocks are much too young to be of use. Remember how I said rattletails ain't the worst thing in the quarry? That honor goes to a beast we took to Colin, Sir Lunky. Massive thing stomped many of our boys. We just couldn't get rid of him. We never could get stubborn old Lunky to leave the quarry alone. Then the kid hears a voice calling from down the hall. "Are you all right?" it says. It's him. "I've come to warn you," he says. "The Bastion is under siege. Let it fall. You should not go back." Kid hears him, but he ain't about to be deterred. "If that's the way it is," he says, "then I won't stop you. Because my countrymen will." Say what you will about Zulf, but he's a man of his word. His countrymen don't much care for pleasantries, though. No way out of this. Not without a fight. Zulf showed him the way here, and here they came to take revenge. They got inside the Bastion and shut the door. Kid's gotta go in through the back. I should have told him sooner about all this. To make matters worse, seems the Ura took the girl. Unfortunately, they broke in, and they started digging their hole. Something wrong sprung out of those holes, and it's eating away at this place. We tried to stop them, but we needed help. Squirt, he don't make it. Somehow, some way, he sends those Ura packing. Problem is, it didn't matter. Zulf's plan worked. We find each other as the dust settles. Then I tell him why the Ura came. To get us back. For the calamity. It was Ceylandia's master plan to wipe the Ura out. But part of that plan backfired, didn't it? If only Zulf knew the whole story. What were we to think? They must have got her, taken her back to her rightful home. The shards can put this disease in remission, but there's only one cure. We need to finish what we started Seems the gods recommended this place to all their friends. Now all we need is one last shard. The sanctuary. If we can build, we can rebuild. The mercy. The windbags ain't the only beast that drew a bad lot. You'd never guess those things been to the wilds and back. Now that's what I call a knife. Service for all the men and women who serve Celandia. The Ura swooped down from the east. At least now we know the way. Kids taking every precaution before setting off in search of you-know-who. What else is there to say?